Hi everybody, welcome to our second workout. I hope you had a good first workout yesterday or Tuesday. If you're not feeling like you were getting good squeezes or like you're getting some good soreness out of that, feel free to shoot me an email. We're really trying to get in touch with how to control our body, how to shorten our muscles, how to make those muscles work. Today's going to be a little bit more your standard resistance circuit. So we'll get some good planks, some rows, some squats, some bridges. Again, focusing on nice slow squeezes and controlled contractions here. So I'll go through a few different progressions and regressions, especially the first time through each circuit. Feel free to challenge yourself a little bit if you need to add more to it. Just keep in mind kind of the cues and the principles that I present with each circuit. So we're going to start again with some foam rolling. Give us about maybe 3 minutes if you want to skip ahead because you don't have one. Otherwise, we'll get started with the upper back just like our first workout. All right, so we'll add a little bit to it today. So, same idea as the first workout. Support your head with your hands, lift your hips. Still focusing on just the top half of your back. In between the shoulder blades, we're only working soft tissue. So here's where we'll add to it. We get a good 30 or so seconds, thinking 1 inch per second. Now I want you to drop your hips. Now we're going to use our arms and hands as levers here. So we're going to get some rotation out of your upper back. Now I want you to keep your abs tight, so there's no movement from your lower back. All we're going to do is reach and rotate to one side and relax. We'll tighten the abs again, reach and rotate to the other side. Let's get 4 more each. There's going to be very limited movement here. We're just trying to get that upper back to open up a little bit. Now, if you let go of your abs, you'll notice that you fall off the roller and you rotate from your lower back. Keep your abs nice and tight. We're just going for that little bit of rotation up top. We'll get 1 more each. Work to not pull on your head and neck. You can use that a little bit to rotate yourself further. Just avoid pulling on it. All right, let's get to the glutes. All right, same setup here. Now, if you feel comfortable with this, after about 20 or so seconds, I'm going to have you stretch while you're on the roller. So we'll get some good pressure on that glute tissue. Now you're going to bring your knee up towards your chest. So nice and slow, just until you start to feel a stretch on this glute. So it's not about how far can you pull your knee up, just until you start to feel a stretch on that glute. And then we'll maintain our good 1 inch per second. And we'll switch. Add that little stretch. And we'll finish with the quads. All right, so today on quads, I'm going to have you start like the first workout, and then we're going to spend some extra time really high up on the thigh, just underneath that hip bone. So let's get our full range from the hip to the knee. Again, working in 3 dimensions, so a little bit of kind of left to right shift on the roller. Breathing into it, staying nice and relaxed. Trying to take tension out, not put tension in. And then once we get all the way to the top, we're going to find what's called our TFL. That kind of blends into the IT band, so if you do get some lateral knee pain, so something kind of tugging to the outside of the knee, or some kind of just dull pain along the outside of your leg, working this TFL can actually be really beneficial to kind of release that IT band. And we'll switch. Alrighty, so we'll finish back up with our thoracic spine rotations. So let's just do 5 each today, but we're going to hold each rep for a full inhale, exhale while you're open. So find your position. Remember, we need to get our knee up above the hips to make sure our lower back doesn't rotate. We want the rotation to happen up top. I'm going to use my opposite arm if I need to. Trace my circle. Now I'm going to hold open here. Stomach breath in, stomach breath out, and close. We'll get 4 more. Constantly trying to trace that circle as far away as I can. That's Baylor. He's getting his fitness in this morning. Last one, and then we'll switch sides. All right, we'll go 5 the other way. And there's Frank. Hey, Frank. Let's get 2 more here. Keep reaching, reaching, reaching. Alrighty, so we're going to get 1 round of breathing in, and then we have 2 circuits of 3 different exercises. So for our breathing, now I want you in the same position as the first workout, flat on your stomach, but now I'm going to ask you to engage your abs a little bit. So I want you to kind of get tightened up like someone was maybe about to pop you in the stomach. Not as hard as you can, but firm enough that you can kind of feel those abs working, and we'll get the same 10 breaths in behind that wall. So again, you're going to get flat down on your stomach, forehead resting on your hands. But this time we'll tighten the abs up a little bit and work to, again, press your belly button into the floor and get 10 nice deep breaths into your belly there. Take a nice deep inhale. Drive that stomach into the floor. Kind of feel your rib cage expand. And exhale, relax. Go ahead and get my breaths in. Let's get 8 more. 7 left. Four left. Keep pressing that stomach out, tightening those abs up. 3. 2. Last one. All right, so for our first circuit, we're going to keep it a little bit simpler, a little less movement, a little more squeezy, and then second circuit we'll get into some movement. So for the first 3 exercises, we're going to do a simple forearm plank. We're going to flip over to some glute bridges, and then we're going to get some isometric rows into the ground. So for our forearm plank, a couple cues to cover first. Obviously, we probably all know the position of a forearm plank, but I want you to notice the difference when I don't use my abs and I don't use my upper body. So my lower back is really arched and my rib cage and chest are hanging out towards the floor. So I need to drive my arms into the floor and I need to tuck my hips under and squeeze my quads, my glutes, and my abs. So to get a good plank, we need to get out of this position. This is lower back and hips, and we need to tuck underneath, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. So we're going to hold this for at most 10 deep breaths. If you lose this position or you fall through in this position, cut the rep. It's not worth practicing bad form. So at most 10 breaths here. Same pattern that we just went through for breathing. Three down. Keep tucked, keep squeezing. Check in on those glutes and quads. They still should be tight. Three to go if you can. Make sure your chest is up. Glutes tight, abs tight. One more breath. Good, go ahead and flip over to your back. So now we'll get to some glute bridges. So again, this is one of those that kind of gets easily butchered. We're going to go in 2 phases. So first phase is going to be to tighten up. So abs squeeze down. I shouldn't see my rib cage at all. So from here you can kind of see my rib cage poking up. I'm going to tighten down my abs, get nice and neutral here, push into the floor and squeeze my glutes. We'll get 10 of these with a good 2-second hold at the top. Now, if you feel lots of hamstrings or even your hamstrings cramping, I want you to think about, if you have a mat or a rug or carpet under you, I want you to think about pushing that away from you. So I'm going to think about driving this mat away from me, tucking and squeezing my glutes. So that'll help with a little more quads, but turn off the hamstrings and give more glutes there. Tuck and squeeze. Let's get 6. Abs first. Tuck and squeeze. 4. 2. Just like the first workout, go ahead and manually check, are my glutes working? Last one. Good. All right, last exercise. So we're going to stay in our bent knee position. My elbows are going to be bent, arms out at my side, somewhere around 45 degrees. So not pinned next to you, not all the way out. So just like a normal row where we would pull something, we're going to find that end position, and all you're doing is driving your triceps and the back of your elbows into the floor. You'll notice your chest and midsection want to rise up. I want you to tighten down the abs, drive that floor as hard as you can for 1 second, and relax. Abs tight, drive the floor, relax. Good, we're looking for this big strong lat muscle in the back here to be working, doing most of the work. You'll get some work in between the shoulder blades and the back of the shoulder, but we want that lat muscle and the abs to do most of this work here. Let's get 5 more. 2. Last one. Good. I'll go through one more time here. So we're right back to our forearm plank. All right, this is all about staying active. Get those glutes tight, quads tight. Squeeze the arm muscles, make 2 fists. 10 strong breaths here. Notice I don't let my head hang. I pull my head and neck in good posture. I continue to push my chest up, squeeze my quads, glutes, and abs. Arms and fists. Let's get 5 breaths if you can hold this position. Good. All right, so for bridges, we can progress these a little bit. Now, I only want you to progress if you can be honest with yourself that you're able to get some good glute contraction out of those bridges. If you're not feeling your glutes tire out and start burning much, adding weight isn't going to help. If you do feel some good squeezes and you're getting tired, I have some dumbbells, but if you don't, grab a case of water. Grab a backpack and load that up with something. You gotta get a little creative here. Let's get 7 more. My cats are looking at me like I'm a little crazy, but that's okay. Let's get 2 more. Up, squeeze, tuck, abs. Good. All right, we'll get our isometric row. Isometric means we're not actually moving. We're just going to create tension into the floor and press, press, press. Good. Remember, abs first. Pushing down as hard as you can comfortably. Let's get 5 more. Great. All right, so feel free to run through that 1 or 2 more times if you want. We're going to move on to our second circuit here. So for today, we're going to keep it pretty similar. Next week, obviously, we'll bump everything up a little bit, challenge a little bit more. So for our second circuit, we're going to go to a hand plank with the option for push-up negatives, some squats, option to add weight if you want, and then some, I'd say dumbbell rows, but they might be case of water rows or backpack rows. So we'll get through this twice, option for more if you want. So for our hand plank, same idea as the forearm plank. I'm not working my abs if I'm hanging out in this position. So there's nothing going on in my abs here. I need you to get your hips a little higher. I need you to tuck underneath, quads and glutes and abs all squeezing. We'll hold our position here. Now, this is all about how much contraction can you create. Again, just hanging out here is not accomplishing anything. You should be making it really difficult for yourself. After about 10 or 15 seconds, you should be shaking because you're squeezing and creating contraction. So, if this isn't too challenging, even with all that squeezing, we're going to do some push-up negatives. So a negative is just the down rep on this. I'm going to hold my good plank position, lower myself down. If I can, I'll press back up. If I can't, I'll leave my knees down, push myself up, and repeat. Otherwise, we're perfectly fine to hang out in our good plank. Let's get 1 more breath. Good. All right, we'll move to squats. So we'll start body weight. Biggest question with squats is generally generally, how do I stand? So there's no right stance. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. The main idea is to get yourself comfortable here. So I prefer a little bit wider, toes out a tad. Some people are going to prefer really wide, really toed out. Some people a little bit more narrow, a little taller. So with squats, I don't care if your knee comes past your toe as long as your heel stays on the floor. Some people have a lot of ankle mobility. My heel's on the floor and my knee is out in front of my toe. But I have good stability through my knee as long as that heel stays pressed. So find a good comfortable width. We'll get 10 reps. Let's get at least one set without any weight. Just like everything we've done so far, we're going to work on tempo, contractions. When you're at the bottom of your squat, you should know what's stretching, what's squeezing, what's holding you in place. The same stuff that lowers you is the same stuff that should push you up. Let's get one more. Good. All right, we'll finish with some rows here. So like I said, if you need some weights, I can load up a backpack. So grab whatever I can grab around the house. I can use that case of water. One thing I like about the case of water is this plastic wants to rip. So if I move too fast, it's going to rip. I got to move it nice and slow, squeeze my body. Go ahead and use my dumbbell here. All right, so just like into the floor, we're going to drive with the shoulder blade first, finish with the elbow. Let's get 5 more, about 10. Like I said in the first workout, we're kind of limited by the amount of weight we can use, so we need to control tempo, we need to control contraction. Don't focus on moving the weight, focus on squeezing your body. You just happen to be holding a weight. All right, let's get 10 with the other side. Three more. Good. All right, let's get through this circuit at least one more time. You may have some questions about the push-up negatives. Are you ready for that? So when you get to the bottom of the rep, if everything kind of just gives way, chest falls, hips fall, try throwing a pillow underneath your chest. That'll be your end point. Boost yourself up a little bit. If you get through 5 reps and then you're too gassed to do 5 more, hold your plank for 5 seconds. Find a good challenge, not to failure. Leave something in the tank. Get one more breath here. Good. We can move on to squats. All right, so for squats, grab my case of water. I can hold stuff below my legs here. You can do shoulder. Let's get 3 more. And we'll finish with our last set of rows. Notice I have a good flat back here. Again, watch how much movement I get before my elbow bends. A little closer. So this is all from my shoulder blade
and then my arm moves. We don't want you rowing in front. Get that shoulder blade wrapped and then row with the arm. It should be as much of this lat muscle and as little of the bicep as you can manage. We'll go one more for about 10 and then switch. We'll get to this variation next week. Let's get 3, 2, 1. Great. Feel free to run through that another round or two. And have a great weekend. Like I mentioned, I'm open for any questions, fitness, at all fitness related or anything. So trainerstevej@gmail.com. I hopefully set things up here so that we can kind of progress them as you get more used to it. Kind of the mindset and approach of squeezing and controlling your body. So we'll step it up next week. Have a great weekend.